out of nowhere.
Years of training.
Yes, well, whatever. Look, Sir Nigel, it's come to my attention that my proposals for the UK GDPR and DPA amendments have somehow found their way back to this department, and indeed, onto my desk.
I simply thought that you may not have been properly aware of all the salient and pertinent facts before submitting your proposal.
I see. Right, so you thought you'd read the proposal first and then acquaint me with the salient and pertinent facts, is that right?
Certainly not, Minister. My job is not to tell you what to do. My role is simply to advise.
Right, so I'd be entirely wrong to assume then that you're not going to let this proposal out of this department until you agree with it.
How very dare you. The function of the civil service is not to interfere in the machinations of the elected few who have been elected by the many to govern in their absence, but simply to advise the elected few on what the many might or might not perceive that which is in the best interests of government as being in the best interests of themselves. As such, I would advise you, Minister, that your proposal might benefit from one or two small modifications.
Good Lord, Sir Nigel, listening to you, I don't hold out much hope for your modifications being small. Oh well, may as well make a start. It's on here somewhere. Let me just get this migraine strip on before you start talking again. Right, so what you're saying is this: in order for this to be the Data Protection Act to end all data protection acts, we need to get rid of all that awful looking after the rights of the data subject nonsense that the Europeans dreamt of. Is that right?
Whilst also keeping all of the stuff that's going to be useful.
Useful to them or useful to us? I see. So the not protecting the Data Act then?
Well, we are protecting the data. We're protecting the data by not letting the data subjects have so many rights. After all, who could argue but that the government is far better placed to look after the people's data than the people? That's why they elect us.
Why is that better, Sir Nigel? Please be brief. My brain feels as if it's been tenderised by a pneumatic drill.
Well, we make money by selling their data to big industry. This in turn gives us funding to maintain a competent civil service. A civil service that advises the elected few that they might make decisions that may be perceived by the many as being in their best interest, and thus be in favour at the next election campaign so that they can elect us once again to look after their data.
And we're going to be transparent and honest about this, yes?
Minister, our job is not to be transparent and honest. The many who have elected the few do not want to know the truth. They thoroughly expect their government to be opaque. In this way, they can maintain the dignity of ignorance.
Dignity. Okay. So what you're telling me then is in order to do data protection better, we have to not do data protection. And we can't tell them that that's what we're doing or not doing because they don't really want to be bothered with this kind of stuff anyway. Right. So, exactly how much of my proposal are we going to be using, Sir Nigel? Half of it? Some of it? None of it?
As has become traditional here at Consciously Incompetent Productions, we've had a little bit of fun with a serious issue. The UK has a very fragile adequacy decision which allows us to continue to do business with and move data around the EU. The government's current plans to meddle with the Data Protection Act, potentially to water it down, they're ideas that we can somehow play fast and loose with data subjects' rights and freedoms and get away with it as far as the EU is concerned, is concerning. We are all data subjects. Anything that this government does to water down our fundamental rights and freedoms as data subjects will affect us, our families, our friends. We owe it to ourselves and to the people we care about to be involved in what is happening within government in changing the Data Protection Act, and to voice our opposition if those changes do undermine our rights and freedoms. We hope you've enjoyed our production, but more importantly, we hope that you engage in the debate. What should data protection in the 21st century really look like? See you next year.